Good morning again. We're continuing with our tour at the Swanton Pacific Railroad. Again, my name is Molly Engelman. I have no video editing software. I'm going to try to do this in one take. So this is down at the crossing here towards the top of the driveway, below the maintenance buildings, or was. We have some things going on over here behind what was the roundhouse. We're getting some space cleared to move some of the containers over so that they are in a better position. So we've got some equipment running, we've got trees being moved, that sort of thing. So walking down the driveway here, to my right is Little Creek, and the fire came right up through the Little Creek area, took out the two houses that were on the other side of the driveway. Some of our lampposts, the globes, were melted because they are plastic. Some of them were just fine. It's kind of hit and miss. So this area behind what was the roundhouse, which is that lovely dirt spot over there towards the left, this area was not touched. This area was fine. We have two standard size cabooses that are in various states of restoration and use. They've been here since the 90s. They were former Santa Fe cabooses. We also have some of our own rolling stock here. So this is the larger hopper car. It was built for us here at Swanton Pacific Railroad, and it was full of rock, and it was in the car barn during the fire. Also is our metal flat car. Again, that is not camera warp or lens distortion, excuse me. This car actually really is bent that much. While it was hot, we think something fell on it, probably part of the roof, and we're looking at completely having to remanufacture this car. So the larger hopper car here, this is kind of up on a little bit of a hill. I'll try and climb up there so you guys can see this. The larger hopper car did okay through the fire. It is a little warped, at least on, you can see it a little bit down the edge there, but it is still partially full of rock, and that may have helped. We will need to redo a lot of the rigging here. Any of the airlines need to be redone, along with a lot of other things. But we do still have it. We do still have the two cabooses. Sorry, there's trees in the way there. And a little further down here, we're continuing down the lead to the roundhouse, or away from the roundhouse. And we still have the other two cabooses. So there are 4 full-size cabooses. The one that is still numbered Santa Fe has been our restroom facility for a number of years. And we still have Al's Orchard Supply Hardware caboose that was his office for a number of years. Those two, all 4 cabooses were not touched by the fire. They're still as they were. Over here at Elmer Stone Crossing, named for one of our volunteers who's no longer with us, we have the smaller of the 2 hopper cars. This is the one that was built by Keystone Light Railway Company back in the 60s. It came with the 3 Keystone passenger cars and our diesel, now the 502. This car is remarkably straight. It was in the very back of the car barn, and yeah, the paint burned off of it. The trucks are totally seized up. They're not roller bearings, and it's going to take a little bit of work to get this car functional again, but we still have a good solid car body. And if you look really closely in the paint, well, what's left of the paint and everything in the rust, you can actually just barely see the Keystone logo on the far left, and I think on the other side you can read it better. You can read Keystone Light Railway Company across the side, which, not from this side right now though. Also, we have the Little Creek Bridge over here, which this bridge has not been serviceable for a long time. Also, we were unable to access that property and run track back through there into actually one of the neighbors' pastures we had a working agreement with. But all of the wood, or nearly all of the wood, has been burned off of the Little Creek Bridge. And chances are we will probably not be using that again. But that's the status of it at this point in time. So again, this is at Elmer Stone Crossing. During our run days, everyone would park up above or off-site and come in the main driveway where the first video started, and they'd walk down the long curved driveway here past the SP brand we had planted, which I don't know how the S got burned and the P did not, but that's how it worked. Fire does some strange things. And guests would continue down here to usually an umbrella or a little table, and then later our little pavilion right here that is in the garden, where guests would receive their name tags and their lunch tickets, which this area was not touched by the fire. This area is still as it was. A little overgrown, but not bad. And then the other side of our 297 caboose, and then our Orchard Supply caboose, which again was Al's office for a number of years. And there was always a little history display and some photos out in front here. Again, a little overgrown, but not bad. Over by the gravel, over by the ballast, in the other bunker here, these are all the trucks. I'm trying to get closer. These are all the trucks from all of the passenger cars that were in the car barn during the fire. This is what's left of our passenger fleet, aside from the metal car bodies of the Keystone cars. This is it. These are all of the trucks for all of the PPIE, the Panama Pacific International Exhibition of 1915, the cars that were built for that we ran for a number of years here at Swanton. We are working on converting all of the cars to roller bearings rather than waste material and Babbitt, and that's going to be a long project and a long process, but as they are rebuilt, that's what we plan to do, and that will make them serviceable for hopefully quite a while. So we're just continuing our walk down into the meadow here. Martha's garden. Martha was one of our volunteers for a number of years. She's no longer with us, but we have this lovely garden that she worked so many hours in, as well as lots of other volunteers. The garden was renamed to dedicate it to her. And kind of off to my right here, down a little ways, is Scotts Creek. And the fire actually burned along both sides of Scott Creek and cleared out a bunch of vegetation, but left some of the trees. And then down here we have our barbecue pits, which were again not touched by the fire. I'm trying to make these videos in little manageable pieces, so I'll stop this one in a moment and do the third one. But we still have our barbecue pits, so we have our outdoor cooking facilities and plenty of firewood to cook with, obviously. But kind of up on the hillside here, you can see the fire cleared out a bunch of brush. It left some of the trees, This area behind the barbecue pits used to be very overgrown. There were lots of trees between us and the creek, and a lot of that is not there. So you can actually see the creek if you get closer to it. But this whole area was not touched by the fire. Here's a couple of the big trees that are right by the picnic tables. So I'm going to stop this one here, and I will do a third video kind of the meadow area.